People said I was beautiful, and pretty soon I guess you could say I was popular. But I didn't pay attention to any of that, because on the first day of high school, I discovered the theater club, and I was hooked. Instead of performing for my stuffed animals, I could perform for people. For all 4 years of high school, I was the star of every play we put on, and I knew exactly what I wanted to be when I grew up, a famous actress. But being a famous actress is not always sunshine and rainbows. For one thing, there's a ton of pressure. Whenever I star in a new movie, the critics are always at the premiere with pens in hand, ready to pounce on any little slip-up that I make. And then there are the fans. Don't get me wrong, I'm super grateful for all of my fans, and I tell them that all the time on my social media pages. But some of them are just, like, weird. At every premiere, they always line up outside waiting for my autograph, but some of them just don't respect boundaries and come running past security trying to give me a hug or tell me they love me. Honestly, it can get pretty exhausting. At first, it was annoying, and I just accepted it as part of the price I have to pay for being so talented and beautiful. But guys, to be honest, now I'm just plain scared. Let me explain. Lately, someone has been following me everywhere, like a stalker. At first, I thought it was the paparazzi, until something strange happened. One day, as I was leaving my apartment, I noticed a guy half a block away, leaning against a car. His face was partially covered, but I could tell he was spying on me. But the weird thing was that he didn't have a camera or anything. And as soon as he noticed I had spotted him, he ran off. The second time it happened, I got angry. And this time, I chased after him. I probably ran half a mile and must have lost half of my makeup kit before I finally caught up with him. I was immediately embarrassed, though, because I realized it was just an older man out for a run. He was shaking with fear and actually thought that I was trying to rob him. But it was the third time that really freaked me out. This time, it was just after wrapping up a day of filming, and I was waiting for my boyfriend, Julian Summers, to pick me up. That's right, my boyfriend is the Julian Summers. He's amazing. Anyways, I was waiting for Julian to pick me up, and I was in a part of town I wasn't familiar with, and I was all alone. Or so I thought. Then all of a sudden, I spotted the same hooded creep. This time I knew it was definitely him, and I set off after him. This time I've got you, creep. But just when I thought I had him, he turned into an alley and disappeared. As I stood there, catching my breath, I looked around me to see if he was hiding. That's when I noticed a message scrawled on the wall that chilled me to the bone. Oh, sorry, I didn't... Emily? Yeah. Oh, right, you want an autograph? Just 1 second. Hey, it's me, Luke, from high school. Luke? Alien boy? That's when I suddenly remembered him. He was a shy, quiet kid who didn't seem to have any friends. He barely ever talked, but when he did, it was always about the same thing. Extraterrestrials, UFOs, whatever you want to call it. I felt bad for him, but he was so weird. And he didn't look anything like the guy standing in front of me now. If he had... Sorry, I never called you that. No, it's okay. That was a long time ago. By the way, congratulations on being a famous actress and everything. I always thought that high school auditorium was a little small for you. And then Julian showed up. He always loves making an entrance. Hey babe, who's this? A friend of yours? Hi, I'm Luke. No, we just went to high school together. Well, a friend of Emily's is a friend of mine. I could tell that Julian was trying to play it cool in front of Luke. But if I know Julian, I know that there's no one more competitive than him. And I could tell that seeing me with Luke got under his skin. Sure enough, it didn't take long for him to bring up the subject. So, a friend from high school, eh? No, Julian, like I said, we just happened to be in the same class. I hardly ever saw him. It looked like you were blushing. I can't believe it. Are you jealous? Me? Huh. I could tell that Julian felt threatened by Luke, and to be honest, I was kind of enjoying seeing him squirm a bit. But then I immediately started feeling a bit guilty once I realized where he was taking us. We were headed to our favorite spot, a hill overlooking a park on the edge of the city that had the most spectacular views of the entire area. That hill is probably my favorite place in the whole world. Ever since I was a teenager, I went there whenever anything bothered me. Being able to look out on the city like that, it somehow makes all your problems seem so much smaller. For a moment, I just sat there soaking in the view, but then Julian's phone buzzed and he pulled it out. Do you have to do that now? Well, you have 5,000 more followers than me. Congratulations. I guess people really liked your last movie. It was the one downside to having a famous actor as a boyfriend. Julian was an amazing guy in every way except one. He loved checking his social media pages to see what his followers were saying. And the worst part was that he was competitive about it. He would check his profile and then look at mine to see who people liked better. He told me to just think of it as a game, a friendly rivalry, but I didn't like like it, particularly because whenever I seemed to be getting more publicity than he was, he would take it badly. He hated the idea that I had more fans than him. Just then, I remembered the stalker and decided I needed to tell Julian. What do you think I should do? Well, you certainly shouldn't hang around with Luke anymore. With Luke? You don't think— Emily, come on. He appears right after your stalker disappears. And you said he was a freak in high school. I never said freak. You said he was weird. Same thing. Anyways, you know you can't keep acting, right? Not while this is going on. What? You don't seriously think I'm going to let one creep stop me from doing what I love, do you? Besides, my fans need me. I couldn't believe what Julian was saying. I mean, I get that he wanted to protect me, but how could he expect me to just give up my dream, even if it was only temporarily? I thought about how obsessed he was with his own fame and couldn't help feeling like it was a little hypocritical of him. But then again, would I react the same way if he was in danger? That night, I decided to take my mind off the whole stalker incident. So I threw myself on the couch and just watched funny animal videos for a full half hour until I got curious about what people were saying about me and my new movie. I went to my social media page and started reading the reviews. They were really raving about my performance. No wonder Julian had gotten jealous. They were even writing about me on his profile page. Then I noticed a private message that I hadn't seen at first. When I read it, I felt dizzy. Then my whole body went cold. Maybe Julian was right. Maybe I was being reckless by ignoring the threat. Not knowing what to do, I left my phone on the couch and ran out of the apartment and into the hallway. I didn't know what I was running from since the stalker wasn't actually on my phone, but I was too scared to sit still. I jumped up and ran out into the hallway, and that's when I ran into Luke. Hey, what's wrong? What are you doing here? I live here. Just moved in a couple of weeks ago. And that's when I remembered what Julian had said. Luke was the stalker. It all made sense now. I realized what a huge mistake I had made, trusting a guy who I had barely known, even in high school. I hoped it wasn't too late. I rushed back into my apartment, slammed the door, and held my breath, hoping he would leave me alone. The next few days were torture. Now that I knew I was living right down the hall from my stalker, I felt trapped. I couldn't sleep. I could barely eat. I didn't even want to leave the house. I missed 3 days of filming and just told the director that I was sick. Once, I heard a knock on the door and went to see who it was. Without opening the door, I peered through the peephole and saw Luke standing out there. Are you all right? Hey, Emily. I didn't want to tell Julian because I knew he would freak out, but I couldn't stay in my apartment any longer either. One afternoon, I quietly lifted my bedroom window and crawled out to the fire escape. Then I tiptoed down to the street. I knew that there was only one place where I would feel safe. Emily, it's me. I know it's you. Stay away. You know what? I'm not afraid of you anymore. You can hurt me, but I'm never going to stop acting. Stop acting? Why would I want you to stop acting? Wait, that's why you've been stalking me, isn't it? That's why you wrote the message on the wall in the alley. Oh, that. Wait, what are you doing? I don't understand. Why would— Think about it. Julian is scared of you. He's scared you're going to become more famous than him. That's why he wants you to stop acting. He's been pretending there's a stalker so that you'll quit acting for good. But why do you have this video? And hold on, why do I keep running into you lately? I was protecting you from Julian and whoever else might want to do anything to you. You didn't know me. But the truth is, I fell in love with you in high school. I just never told you. But now that this might be my last chance, I'll say it. I love you. He loves me? As strange as it was to hear those words from someone I barely knew, it somehow felt right. Just then, Julian appeared out of nowhere. Emily, get away from him! He must have been hiding because all of a sudden, he came out from behind a tree and started walking towards us. Don't touch her! Julian, I know it was you. You're the stalker. Luke told me everything. Luke? What does Luke know? Come on, get away from that creep and let's go home. It's over, Julian. I said, step away from him. That's when I really got scared. Julian was totally out of control. And now, he had a gun. Julian, don't do anything you're going to regret. Just walk towards me and no one will get hurt. I didn't want to leave Luke's side, but what other choice did I have? Julian was now clearly a dangerous person, and I wasn't gonna take any chances while he was holding a gun. So, freak, you thought you could steal my girlfriend? Do you know who I am? I'm the greatest actor of our generation. I'll admit I was the stalker all along. But how else was I gonna keep Emily from stealing the spotlight? Once she stops acting, there'll be nobody as famous as me. I was born for the camera. I'll say, my 2 million followers seem to really be enjoying this. Oh, 2,000,001 now. Say hi! Once he realized that he was being watched by millions of people, Julian wasn't so tough anymore. He tried to make it seem like he was just messing around, but a video doesn't lie. Hey, we were just acting, right, Emily? Sure. Anyway, I've gotta go, but be sure to check out my new movie. It's called... Oh, no you don't. What were you saying about leaving? Holding Luke, everything finally seemed right for the first time in ages. But then I remembered something. Wait, what do you mean when you said this was your last chance? Emily, you were right when you called me alien boy. What? Look, this is gonna sound really crazy, but here it goes. I am not from this planet. I was sent here a long time ago in order to do research, but my ship was damaged. I've been stuck here for a very long time, centuries. I've been trying to repair my ship ever since, and I think I've finally succeeded. That's when Luke told me all about his adventures here on Earth. How he crash-landed back in the 1700s after going through a wormhole, and how he's been learning to be a human ever since. And then he told me that in 1 month he'll finally be able to leave because another wormhole is going to open up, and that if he doesn't then, he might never return to his planet. I was stunned. In the same instant, I went from falling in love with the guy to realizing he's an alien to having to accept that I was never going to see him again. For the next month, we packed as much as we could into each day. We went to amusement parks, took long hikes, and spent every sunset staring out over the city. When he left, I felt like I was losing a lifelong friend. It made everything I used to care about, the followers, the fame, the money, not seem so important anymore. Now, some nights, when I feel lonely, I like to go back to that hill and stare up at the stars. I stare up at the vast expanse for hours, knowing that Luke is probably up there somewhere, staring right back and always protecting me.